Hello and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain and I'm your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for a 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 97 of our trek. Yesterday we started our exploration of the 4 zones of life, or as we refer to them as the trails where we can choose to spend most of our time. So far, we have hiked on the Trail of Incompetence and the Trail of Competence. Today we will explore the Trails of Excellence and the Trail of Genius. When we finish this 2-day hike, we want to have a clearly marked map on how we can navigate towards and spend most of our time on our personal Trail of Genius. We are recording our podcast from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. We are making some slow but steady progress on the woodwork in our dining room. My hope is to have it ready for a couple coats of polyurethane on the woodwork and floors before we head back to Charlotte at the end of next week. In addition to my client work and preparing for this daily podcast, I'm also preparing to speak at Putnam Congregational Church on the next 2 Sundays. I'll be using a few notes from our Wisdom Trek podcast as the lesson material. Life sometimes is quite busy and we yearn for a less hectic pace, but in the same way, we find it rich and satisfying. And we do deal with the emotional roller coasters each day, just like you do. And it is with this preparation of our Wisdom Trek journal that we are able to maintain a reasonable balance in life. I trust that listening to this podcast or reading the journal helps you to find balance as well. Thank you so much for allowing me to share with you each day. Let us know through our comments on our daily journals how it is helping you and how we can serve you better. But now it is time to break camp and set out to explore our final 2 trails. If you missed our hike on our first 2 trails, the Trail of Incompetence and Competence, please listen to day 96 of our trek, which can be found at wisdom-trek.com. As mentioned yesterday, the zones or trails that we are exploring were mapped out in a book called The Big Leap, written by Gay Hendricks. In his book, Gay plots out the zones or trails that will help you to conquer your fear and take your life to the next level. But this is only possible if you are willing to make the changes that are needed. So let's go to our 3rd trail, which is the Trail of Excellence. The Trail of Excellence is where most proficient and successful people hike. This is the trail that you can really excel on. On this trail, you are more successful than the other hikers and are rewarded for it. Now, the reward can be monetary, like a business or job situation, or it can be a recognition by others for your particular giftedness. While you may have some sense of satisfaction on this trail, it is also easy to become comfortable on this trail. You may be compensated and recognized for your achievements, but there's a gnawing sense that you're not making the kind of impact that you want, and you live on this plateau of tolerance. You're on the brink of breaking through into the next trail of genius, but you have to take that leap of faith to venture out of your comfort area. A personal example for me would be the remote technical support work that I do for one of our clients. Now, I've excelled in this field and enjoy the work on most days, but I feel I have plateaued and desire to break through to the trail of genius. While I feel that God still wants me to use my gifts on the current trail, this podcast and some of the other business changes that we have briefly mentioned will help us to move forward to the final trail. And that final trail is trail number 4, the Trail of Genius. The Trail of Genius often requires bold decisions. Your friends and family may question you because you're leaving behind what to them seems to be success to pursue something speculative. You will require courage and faith to make this transition, and then your family and friends will come along later. Finding your Trail of Genius will take some work and introspection. Chances are that you've already been given subtle and not so subtle clues throughout your life, but you've ignored them or tossed them over the cliff. Your Trail of Genius may be something idealistic that you're hesitant to admit for various reasons. And I've come up with 5 excuses that will prevent you from hiking on your Trail of Genius. First, it's a bit out there and risky. Second, it would mean that you've been wasting your time on other trails, although I should say that those other trails should have been your trails of preparation. Third, it might require making some drastic and painful changes in your life. Fourth, it might be embarrassing to admit and share with your friends and family. And fifth, it tends to go against social norms and conventions. If you're hesitating to make this change to the Trail of Genius, you can get some clarity on the direction that you're heading by asking the following questions. These are 4 questions for finding your Trail of Genius. Number 1, what do you love to do most? You love it so much that you can do it for long stretches of time without getting tired or bored. Number 2, what activities, tasks, or work do you do that really doesn't seem like work? Number 3, in your activities, task, or work, what produces the highest ratio of abundance and satisfaction to the amount of time that you spend? And number 4, what is your unique ability or gift? What unique abilities of yours, when fully realized and put to work, can provide enormous value to you and your world? You might say, I am best at when I'm, and fill in the blank. Or you might say, when I am at my best, the exact thing I'm doing is, and fill in the blank. And then you might say, when I am doing that, the thing I love most about it is, and then fill in that blank. Reaching your trail of genius requires that you break through your current upper limit. Just like we discussed about how fleas are trained on day 66, we can easily become programmed to think there is a false plateau and that we can scale no higher. Reaching and staying on your trail of genius is going to require you to say no to a lot of your current routines so that you can say yes to new opportunities. Get good at saying no to those self-limiting opportunities that take you off your trail of genius. Don't allow yourself to concoct false beliefs for why you can't stay on your trail of genius. Break through that upper limit, move beyond your current plateau, and remember that the reason you're on this wisdom trek is to create a living legacy, to seek out discernment and insight, to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before, and to live long and prosper. Your trail of genius will allow you to live a rich and satisfying life. As we look at it, today we explored the trails of excellence and genius, where we learned how to hike to new heights. So come along on our hike tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. And we will explore how life is like hiking at night. Well, that will finish our podcast for today. If you've missed any of the previous podcasts, please check out Wisdom Trek on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, YouTube, or at wisdom-trek.com. If you enjoy our daily doses of wisdom, these little nuggets we consume each day, I encourage you to take the time to invest in yourself in these 3 ways. Invest with your time in improving Wisdom Trek by leaving your name, email address, and a comment on our website so that we can provide you with the wisdom and insights that best fit your needs. Number 2, invest in yourself by listening to your 7 minutes of wisdom through the Wisdom Trek podcast each day. And the best way to do this is to subscribe at iTunes or Stitcher and have it downloaded to you automatically. And third, invest in the lives of others by sharing with your family and friends, in person or online, to journey with us on our Wisdom Trek. And if you haven't done so already, please leave us a rating at iTunes or Stitcher so that we'll gain more exposure for others to join us on our Wisdom Trek. The journal for this podcast can be found at wisdom-trek.com, where we also have pictures, tweetable quotes, wisdom nuggets, and free resources. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide, mentor, but most importantly, your friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. As we take this trek together, let us always live abundantly or fully, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.